Girls Ladies Night continues. Ladies singles action with the Yankee Rolls Miss Georgia Washington one-on-one against THC Taylor Holly Combs.
This next match will fall with a 10-minute time limit approaching the ring from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's the Yankee Rose, Miss Georgia Washington.
Well, Tex, it was just last week on RWL Snarl in a match that you called that the Yankee Rose Georgia Washington upset the balance of the universe by defeating Luna Vachon by pinfall, utilizing the Rockets' red glare, and a win that certainly no one expected.
I sure as hell didn't expect it. Everybody swore up and down Luna Vachon had that one in the bag, but somehow Georgia Washington managed to get that win, and now she thinks she's even hotter than she was before. She thinks she's hot snot on a silver platter, but she's really a cold booger on a paper plate.
Nonetheless, the Yankee Rose angling for a title shot, and she may very well land one by the time Global War rolls around on the 28th.
Georgia Washington in Washington, D.C. Well, there's no way Myron's not going to book that one.
And her opponent, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, THC Taylor Holly Combs.
THC, of late, associating with new friends in Les Femmes Fatales, Jet Williams and Goddess Mimi Emerson, and of course the women's world champion Dynamite Jeannie Parker, who believes Taylor Holly Combs certainly has future potential.
And why wouldn't she? THC's a former women's international champion, and she beat Titania Tatiana to get there, and that was not an easy task.
And so these two Pennsylvania natives getting ready to get it on here on Ladies Night, and it's going to be a good matchup for sure.
Hey man, there's no way it can, not with the level these two are performing at. I still can't believe Georgia Washington got a pinfall win over Luna Vachon last week. That's insane.
And indeed, that win has inflated the ego of Georgia Washington to almost gargantuan proportions.
Yeah, Johnny Bianco said they had to let out her hats a couple of times so her head would fit.
Willie Johnson sounds the bell. The ladies come center ring. Taylor Holly Combs locks up with the upper hand. Georgia Washington quickly counters with a chop block. Takes down Taylor Holly Combs. Taylor counters with an enziguri, a boot right across the face of Georgia Washington, and a kick to the midsection. Taylor off the middle rope, crossbody across the back of Georgia Washington. Georgia counters, takes her down to the mat. Taylor counters, takes her down to the mat. And it looks like another eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth matchup here. Takes double knees to the head of Georgia Washington from Taylor Holly Combs. THC follows up with a stomp to the midsection. Now a rear chin lock center ring with no ropes to access. Referee Willie Johnson watching, but Georgia Washington escapes the hold. Locks up Taylor Holly Combs. Hard Irish whip over the top rope and out onto the floor. And here comes the Yankee Rose in hot pursuit. Taylor Holly Combs back up to her feet, but taking quite a bit of a pounding here as she sets up a vertical suplex. Georgia Washington definitely not fooling around here, determined to win this match. Drives a knee into the head of Taylor Holly Combs. Follows it up with a failed stomp, and whoa, look at this. A wheelbarrow DDT out there on the wood floor, head first to Georgia Washington. Georgia with an elbow and a kick to the chest to Taylor Holly Combs. Taylor in trouble here, catches a stomp to the shoulder. Georgia rounds her up again. Taylor counters with another kick to the midsection. Down goes Georgia Washington. THC makes her way in over the top rope, encouraging the crowd for a little quiet while she works. Locks up Georgia Washington and a snap suplex with a pin. But the ropes right there, Willie Johnson instructing her she's got to start all over again. Georgia Washington with a hard whip over the top rope and out on the floor again for Taylor Holly Combs. And this seems to be Georgia Washington's modus operandi. Georgia Washington trying to work this crowd. And even here in Pennsylvania, that's a tall order. Taylor Hollycombs comes in. Swing, both ladies swing and miss. Taylor off the middle rope and a clothesline, taking Georgia Washington down. Followed up with a beautiful moonsault from Taylor Hollycombs. Taylor rounds Georgia up. Escorts her to the corner, head first into the turnbuckle. And again, Taylor Hollycombs smashing the head of Georgia Washington into the buckle. And she is calling for it. Here it comes, a running bulldog right center ring, putting Georgia Washington on the canvas again. Taylor Hollycombs with a quick wraparound DDT. Moves with such speed off the middle rope and another beautiful crossbody. Nice elevation there. Here's a cover with a hook of the leg, Walden. But just the one. Georgia Washington still with far too much steam in the tank. Taylor Hollycombs escorting Georgia Washington to the ropes again. Georgia finds her way out, catches a couple of rights from THC, counters with a kick to the midsection and a running kick that takes Taylor down the mat. Georgia Washington, the Yankee Rose, exploiting every possible moment she can with Taylor Hollycombs down on the mat, doing as much damage as humanly possible. Georgia escorts Taylor towards center ring. Uh-oh, here we go. Into the figure four. And we could see a submission here. This is how Georgia Washington defeated China recently. Referee Willie Johnson monitoring the situation carefully. Taylor Hollycombs, look at this. Gets the foot and tags her with a right and cuts herself loose from a dangerous situation. They lock up again. Whoa, what a beautiful move from Taylor Hollycombs, followed up with a basement dropkick. And now the tables have turned with Georgia Washington down on the mat. Taylor Hollycombs moves in, locks up Georgia, a kick to the midsection, a wind up of the arm, and THC is going to take Georgia Washington walkies here off the top rope. Beautiful arm drag from Taylor Hollycombs. Taylor quickly making her way to the top turnbuckle here. Whoa, my, did you see that, Tex? That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Hard kick to the back. And another moonsault. Taylor Hollycombs with that astounding speed rounds up Georgia Washington. A series of kicks, a series of slaps, and another drop kick, putting Georgia Washington on the canvas again. Taylor Hollycombs dragging Georgia Washington close to center ring. Georgia quickly back up on her feet, locks up Taylor Hollycombs, has her up and nails her with a knee breaker. Georgia Washington trying to regain control and hang on to it in a match where the momentum has already been back and forth quite a few times. Taylor Hollycombs on the receiving end of some bad business here at the hands of Georgia Washington. She sets it up, and there's another driving knee into the head of Taylor Hollycombs. Taylor catches a couple of kicks and a couple of stomps from the Yankee Rose, who is now stalking THC. This could be disastrous right here. Swings and misses completely. Not sure what that was about. Counters with a couple of driving knees into the midsection instead. Follows it up with a stomp to the shoulder. Taylor Hollycombs counters, gets back up on her feet. Georgia Washington with a slap and a series of chops and takes down Taylor Hollycombs to the canvas again. Georgia, whoa, a running kick. And now into a head scissors. With a wrap across the top of the head. Georgia covers. 1, 2. Oh, my. Georgia Washington letting Willie Johnson have it for a count that she deemed too slow. But it was regulation. Taylor with a hard right. Locks up Georgia Washington. Here's a kick to the midsection and a beautiful flip. And again, Georgia Washington finds herself in trouble at the hands of THC. Taylor Hollycombs escorts her to the ropes. A chop across the chest. A rebound off the rope. And look at this beautiful handspring knees to the back of the Yankee Rose. Taylor Hollycombs knocking the wind out of Georgia Washington. Drags her center ring. Goes for the cover. Hooks the leg. 1, 2. Another near fall as Georgia Washington gets that right shoulder up. Taylor Holly-Combs beginning to display some frustration here. Georgia rounded up again. THC catches some elbows to the midsection from Georgia Washington. Georgia with a nice wraparound DDT. Must give credit where it's due, Tex. She sizes it up, drives the knee into the head of Taylor Holly-Combs again. And this match, tides changing like Hollywood romances. There's that wheelbarrow DDT again from Taylor Holly-Combs. Taylor locks up Georgia, has her up against the ropes, a chop across the chest. Here's the rebound off the ropes again, and that beautiful handspring knees across the back. Taylor Holly-Combs covers. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, not a 3. Well, I can't blame Taylor Holly-Combs for taking Willie Johnson to task on that last count. I was convinced this one was over. THC drags Georgia centering. Moonsault, cover, hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3, and that one took for sure. Taylor Holly-Combs defeating the Yankee Rose by pinfall.
The time of the match, 8 minutes and 21 seconds. Here's your winner, Taylor Holly-Combs.
Taylor Holly-Combs, THC, picking herself up the win here and getting there with almost no time to spare. With just a minute and change left to go. And admittedly, Georgia Washington certainly giving Taylor Holly-Combs a run for her money. But THC manages to pick up the 3-count pinfall. And we'll be back with more RWL Ladies Night right after this.